Welcome to this week's edition of the Prop Show, number 25, with Graham Locke and Kristjan Byfield in the house.
Special guest today, very big in the game. Welcome, gentlemen. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Tell us who you are very quickly.
Who are you? Where'd you come from?
Who the hell are you?
I'm Graham Locke.
Hey!
Of Lockbusters fame.
Lockbusters fame, yes. Former owner and founder of House Network, the first online estate agency.
There you go.
We'll quiz him later about online.
You can ask Russell Quirk and Adam Day who was the first, and they'll both tell you it was me.
And who are you, Kristjan?
I'm Kristjan Byfield. I run Base Property Specialists, single branch independent agency in Shoreditch, and we're just about to launch a prop tech company called
PropTech.
We'll also talk about that in the show.
Okay, so whilst we've got two esteemed... Oh, hold on a second, there's someone missing. Wonder who it could be.
Chris, hi. You're probably
Chris.
watching at home.
Oh, bless him. Couldn't be here today because his daughter's not very well.
So get well soon, Darcy.
Yeah, oh, bless him. Right, okay, boys, let's dive in straight away. Online versus high street, 2019. What?
Roll VT. There we go. See, it falls apart when Chris is not here. Right, okay, go on, you start.
I could probably take that bit out. Got to look professional.
Smooth.
We're way past looking professional.
2019, we've had the e-move debacle around Christmas.
Yeah.
Online here to stay? Has the battle been won? Has the war been won? Talk to me, boys.
I think online is here. If it's here to stay is a very good question. I think it depends on a couple of things. I think it depends on profitability. So actual sustainability of the business model.
Because they've been pumping millions into getting them going, haven't they?
Yeah, lots of money's gone into it. Purple bricks are, I think, very much responsible for that. If you take purple bricks away from the whole equation, it doesn't leave too much of a threat, I don't think.
Okay.
But if they can make profits, if they can sustain that, and the flip side is actually delivering on the service. So actually vendors and buyers enjoying the service enough to then create an organic turnaround of business. So they start to get that repeat business going, organically growing, rather than paying thousands to TV.
Is that one of the downfalls at the minute, that they're offering a good product in theory, but there's no customer service like you would give an independent? You'd be on it and holding someone's hand through the process of buying or selling, whereas we get the feeling that online don't necessarily do that as such.
Yeah, I always said from the offset, as online has started to come out, I was always of the viewpoint they always had a place in the market. I mean, I never agreed with the rather, as we now know, optimistic viewpoints on what their market share would be by this point. But there was always an FSBO, there was always a for sale by owner marketplace, right? And so as we digitised, that was always going to transition. So there was always that, and then could they steal a bit of market share away from agents who were not good at their job, or from clients who don't value the human element of what an agent does? And I think there was always going to be a yes to that as well. So I mean, I always had the viewpoint that there absolutely was a marketplace in them. I think one of the issues I took, and at the end of the day, it just comes down to marketing, right? It's what a lot of their marketing agencies told them to say. But I think personally, as an agent, I think a lot of agents, we took a front with the very anti-agent patter,
rather than playing in the same ball.
Rather than us all being in the same, we're all in it together, but we're doing it differently. It was your useless lying schmucks, and we're here to save everyone from you. And I think me, along with a lot of agents, found that tough. But I think 2019 is a massive year for onliners in terms of the sector is here to stay. That's not going away. But you know what, Yop have just announced 33 million losses. There are some that reckon that's going to be up to 50 next year. Purple bricks are yet to make a penny of profit. I think they're about 40 or 50 million in the red.
What do you think?
The UK.
I mean, you've done online before. Do you think that's? I mean, obviously, angel investors and whatnot. Do you think they've got almost unlimited investment until they start to claw some of that market share and credibility back? Or can they just keep going for a finite amount of time before they go run out of cash?
I think we'll find out.
Well, right.
But I think with Purple Bricks, definitely the case. Obviously, being a public listed business, they've got access to that kind of money and backing, and they're going global now, not just off the UK.
Do you think that was a wise thing for them to go global?
Personally, I think it was probably too quick, but I think once you're listed on the stock market, you've always got to come up with a story that's going to keep your investors hungry.
True.
So I think they have to keep churning these stories.
I'm going to slightly disagree with you there in terms of, like, I think maybe as a business, international operations may be a little bit young, but in terms of becoming a business that finds margin, Purple Bricks has sort of admitted, without openly admitting it, that they're always going to struggle to find a margin in the UK because we're cheap. Agents in the UK are cheap.
Yes.
Most of the markets they're disrupting, agent fees average 6%. So you can undercut at 3 or 4%. You're still cutting a third off the marketplace, and you've still got a nice margin to play with. You're undercutting 1.4%. It's an industry that makes a 16% average profit.
Yeah.
That's a tough industry to undercut by enough that you can make that your differentiator to land business and still find a margin.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Purple Bricks have, in certain announcements, they've sort of said, well, actually, yes, we see other markets being more viable than the UK because we're so cheap.
Yeah. I think the reason I say early is because I think they needed a lot of time to get the blueprint correct in this country.
Why did they start in the UK then, do you think?
I think that's just naturally where the founders had experience in the market and the rest of it. But I don't think they've got their model polished, or it's certainly in the process of being built to a point where they're very happy and it's, as I said, sustainable. And I think the delivery of the services is really important. I think they're learning that all the time. But what I think is a real difficult part at the moment is actually in this market, it's not easy to sell a property. So when House Network was started, and eMove and Hatch and all the rest of us, it was a market where you put it on Rightmove and it would find a buyer and it would sell. And it was fairly straightforward. And a lot of lazy agents appeared from the underworld to join that whole, this is easy, I can make a couple of grand with just a Rightmove account. And you could. Now it's not as easy as that. Now we're agents again, and we need that skill, experience, and professionalism to get through.
What do you think we could learn from the eMove and Russell Quirk story?
Firstly, Russell is a good man. I think he's a very hard-working man as well. He put everything he had into that business, and sadly it didn't work out. But I think what you could probably learn is when you try to disrupt a marketplace that's been around for 100 years and hasn't changed, there's hundreds of years maybe. There's a reason for that, and it's because people are creatures of habit. And we just keep doing the same thing because that's the way we've always done it. So
then you could turn around and say, well, you know, booking a holiday's changed and booking a cab has changed. Why?
But I think the friction points, you look at buying a house, and yet PropTech hasn't reinvented the buying process yet. We haven't transformed buying a house from the 3 months it is now to 2 weeks. Now, if Purple Bricks had come out and gone, guys, we can sell every property from offer to completion in 2 weeks, I think they'd have 80% market share by now. If they'd cracked that beast, but in reality all they're doing is tweaking comms.
Is that
stuff,
uncrackable,
right? And it's like,
in theory?
No.
I mean, 2 weeks obviously quick, but
let's put it into perspective. You're putting 50 to 60 million pounds into a business, into a market to disrupt it, and you come out with 5%. Is that good?
Not bad.
It's not a bad start. I know they wanted
a lot of money, but you're buying that market share because you're just hammering TV, PR, radio, everything you can do. You're putting. You can't get any more TV. At one point, they were on nearly every ad.
I interviewed Russell, and until the Germans came along, I can't remember the name of the German firm that put money in. Yopa are almost neck and neck for money, and we all know where market share of Yopa is compared to Purple Bricks. So it isn't a case of throwing money at things. I mean, interestingly, I asked him. I'll tell you what he said, what the difference between Yopa and Purple Bricks, and he just said they just got there at the right time, they went in for the money.
Right time and marketing message. Purple Bricks got their marketing message.
Their
adverts were spot on. As much as we hated them as agents,
it was
and
quite
as much as a lot of us felt the whole commissionary thing is quite misleading, who gives a shit? For them, it delivered what they wanted.
Well, people, Joe Bloggs knows Purple Bricks now, don't they?
Wasn't the first Yopa one, wasn't it, like Village People or something like that? It's
and then Mo Farah, why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
Why not?
Works for corn chicken, right?
Why not?
Why not?
Okay, well, I'll tell you what it might be is I think it's time for Ask the Prop Show.
Chris, I'm going to run the graphic and then I'm going to put your hat on. So keep your knickers not in a twist. Okay, right, run. Thank you. Good graphic. Well done, Chris. And as if by magic.
Hey! Put the tassel on the front.
Sorry, is this where Chris does it? Is it gone? Where is it?
Oh,
there we go.
Well
Like a front tassel.
Continuity. Very, very important.
Right, so question. We've had some questions, obviously, for our esteemed guests. In terms of tenant fee ban, the deadline's looming ever closer. Not how do we replace your business's turnover, but as an independent, how have you been preparing, and how do you think maybe some of the guys out there should, possibly, if they're not prepared already, prepare for this incoming tenant fee ban?
Yeah, so I mean, like you said, I think as agents we've had a long time. We knew this was coming around the bend, right? And if you didn't,
the amount of agents that were saying to me, "Well, if it in December, a month ago or so, well, that if it comes in."
What?
I'm not joking.
Still thinking it wouldn't.
Yeah, and not just to me, to other people in the industry. Yeah, well, if it comes.
Wow. I think. Hopefully, the majority, at least 51%, have sort of accepted that it is coming from a financial perspective. And if it isn't, if you're not prepared for that, then wow,
you've run out of time.
You've got a busy 6 months. But I think we already started preparing our clients for it tail end of last year. So we did a big mail out to our clients early in December, just talking about what is this thing, the letting fee ban. Probably about half our landlords came back going, didn't even know about this, but thankful.
Yeah.
And the other half said, thanks for clarifying. So we basically set out what are the service changes from a cost perspective for them.
Because often in lettings, they only see the tip of the iceberg. Oh, there's the documents, there's your keys, blah, 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 off you go. But there's, 170 odd pieces of legislation?
Yeah, making over about 400 individual laws in the whole grand scheme of things. So it's I mean, lettings is a whole new beast really with everything that's coming in. But I think it's as with anything major like this, there's a lot of media that goes around it. There's a lot of hyperbole that talks about things, and I think really for agents, I think you need to reassure your landlords. There's been a lot of talk about agents having to take their their letting fee income, tenant fee income, and pass that on to their landlords. Is that the reality? Most agents I talk to, no.
Yeah.
But the media has mentioned that in many ways. Yes. So I think agents need to be aware that that might be their client's perception. So I think it's really important they get out in front of it with their clients.
And manage those a little bit.
Exactly, and reassure their clients, look, these are the changes that are going to happen. This is what it's going to mean to our business. This is what it means to you. And by the way, don't worry, we're not going to shut shop in 6 months' time because of this loss of revenue. I mean, that's another thing, right?
Bottom line,
that's
the fees up.
Yeah, well, we're not. I think again, one of the problems is we and Graham touched on this earlier. Actually, when we talk about house prices, but we talk about our industry way too much on a national perspective, and the problems are insanely different.
Yes.
For my agency, I can say the letting fee ban is going to account for a loss of less than 2% of our revenue, and that's because we always took a strong standpoint that we charge quite a lot in letting fees, so we've always kept our tenant fees.
Yeah, but most agents
suppress
20-25%.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've heard slightly inflated figures. Talking to most agents I talk to, most are sort of sitting in the 15 to 20% range, which in an industry that averages 16% profit margin is still critical. Right? You're still losing your entire profit margin. So, but it varies. I think we earn a good fee, so we don't charge high letting fees. For an agent that works, I don't know, in sort of northern territories of Wales or Yorkshire, where you're maybe earning like £400-500 for a let, but doing exactly the same work that we are. Wow, that's serious stuff.
Struggle.
And if
what are they going to do?
You were making 500 quid at your letting fee. So it's. I mean, we're not talking about the money, right? Like if
that's what they want to know.
Well. If you haven't been figuring out the money the last year, then you need to start really figuring that out.
I think the first thing is actually to work out how much of your income is.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, 2%,
you need to figure out that is, can you get that from somewhere else? Are you leveraging every revenue stream that you can? Are you selling contents insurance to, you know, are you selling insurance products to your landlords and tenants? Are you doing utility switching? Are you, you know, whatever else? Are you amping up your service offerings to put bolt-ons that you can charge extra for?
Kristjan, is it time to sort of get out of the let-only business and the periodic tenancies and that kind of thing, and just try and straighten all that out? Because they're at risk, aren't they, the let-only guys?
Yeah, so let-onlys are really scary space at the moment. There's a lot of, with all the legislation that's coming in, there was a court case recently, a court ruling in Camden recently, which suggests the fact that legally the powers that be may not even recognise an agent as a let-only entity.
Really?
Even if you're giving a let-only offering, you may actually be seen as a key stakeholder in that process and actually therefore be responsible for compliance throughout the duration of a tenancy, regardless of what fee you earn and where you earn it. So that, you know, that again is massive. So lettings has got a lot to think about, but if you're feeling a bit overwhelmed by it, just start with the basics. So start off talking to your clients. Set out understand what it means to your business. Let your clients know what's going on. Start looking at the logistics. Start looking at, you're going to have to review your tenancy agreements. You're going to have to take out all the ban charges. You're going to have to look at your in-house procedures about, you know, do you need to change your holding deposit? Are you going to reduce your security deposits before the cap? I mean, as an agency, we're taking the decision that we're switching to the 1 week deposit and the 5 week, 1 week holding deposit and the 5 week security deposit cap instantly. We're doing that now. We might as well.
So you seem quite well prepped. I guess others won't be. And
Greg, anything to add to that?
No, I agree with what Kristjan's doing. I think the preparation work should have started 12 months ago. If it hasn't, then there's a race now to get this sorted.
Can I bit of a plug for a friend of mine, Sally Lawson, does a course.
I saw Sally last week.
And a lot of my clients have been on that course.
Is this the boot camp?
The boot camp.
Yes, yeah.
And basically increase their fees from, say, what they're charging, say 10% now, up to 12% with a very clever system. And I say it clever with a small c. Yeah, I was quite impressed. Not quite impressed. I have been impressed with the feedback I've had. So probably check them out. And should be on commission, shouldn't it?
Yes.
Not really. But
we give a...
just type in Agent Bootcamp Sally Lawson. You'll find it. Everyone knows Sally. Right, what's the next one?
This one's for Graham. We were chatting pre-show and saying that 2019 is a huge year, not just for online, but also just the agency, the world is... what can agents do to win 2019, whether it's letting or estate agents? And as an agent, how can you win 2019? Is there any top tips or...
Well, I think there's a huge opportunity in 2019 and probably the next 2 to 3 years. We're currently at the sort of low transaction levels that we've been at for 4 years or so, which is hovering around 1.1, 1.2 million, and it's been fairly consistent.
Right.
If you go back, you know, the last 20 years, which I've looked at, we used to get up to 1.5, 1.6, 1.7. So there's been a big drop off in transactions. But during that time, more agents have come into the market, probably more than ever before.
We spoke about this before, the pie and...
It's unsustainable that it can continue with the amount of agents in business.
Right.
It's probably highly likely that transaction levels won't drop much more than 10% from where they are now. Brexit will come through Brexit, of course, in the next 18 months. You have to. And then transactions start to tick up, the confidence comes back. So you've got less agents by then, because they were being cleared out by Brexit and all the rest of it, and a difficult market. And then you've got increasing transactions. So the good agents that start to prep now for the next 24 months, I think we'll see the cyclical nature come in their favour.
Right.
So I think it's a huge opportunity if you get your house in order.
What do they need to do? What do they need to prep?
I think they need to, in many ways, go back to basics, which we had a brief discussion about earlier.
In the green room.
In the green room. I think they mustn't get too hung up on prop tech. I think some of it is excellent and should be adopted.
We'll talk about that later.
We will.
Yeah, we'll pick it back.
And I think it's a case of moulding together the very much, I'd say 70-30, 70% people still, 30% technology, and marry those two together. And just get better at what you do as an agency.
It's still a very emotional process, isn't it?
It's still a very emotional process. And I think things like recruitment and training, it doesn't get looked at quite enough.
Training, hardly anything. We as an industry are awful at training our people, aren't we?
Yeah. And I think mystery shopping's a good, it's a topic.
We've been releasing some mystery shopping phone calls.
Boyd Mayo stuff,
I'm a sales doctor. friend of the show.
Hi, boys.
Yeah. So I think it's important that the agents keep an eye and don't get too caught up in the day to day. And the owners of those businesses need to try and come away from it a little bit more to see what really is going on, because they spend so much time in there.
Do you think they're too far at the coalface, working too much in the business? Do you suffer from that?
I think that can be a problem. I think, if you've got a small operation, I think, small business owners, I know, sometimes it does feel like,
What tips have you got for, because, you've run big national operations with Property Franchise Group and other big companies, Graham. What can you advise people to work on the business as opposed to in the business? Little tips.
I think it's a case of going to events, speaking to other people, your peers. Don't be afraid to speak to other agents, because for so long we've been so insular in our own environment, and we don't speak to our neighbours. It's not because you don't want to give anything away. It's just have a chat.
Be human.
And I think absolutely there
is keep learning.
We do compete in the marketplace, so you feel like that's almost like a battle line drawn.
To give you an example, and to your point, at the franchise group, we'd have a conference. And that conference, the agents would the franchisees would come, and we'd talk about what's coming and what to prepare for. But the coffee breaks and the after lunch sessions were the busiest, were the hub of. I got so much from that just through speaking to other franchisees, going through the same motions.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because when we do training courses here, we only have 10 delegates, but at coffee in the morning and lunch. I mean, granted, they're mainly from different areas of the country, it turns out, one from Newcastle. And that's almost some of the best feedback, not to do with the course, but it was great to talk to John from Durham, because he's doing this, this and this. I'm a similar sized business. Yeah. I'm now going to go and do that and that. And
it's like therapy.
Yeah, benchmarking
it's like
and best
therapy
practice.
And it does
really
a lot of good.
It can validate what you're doing, right? If
you're
trying something and three others are doing it and they're also seeing success, it's like, great, I am doing the right thing. I'm not completely...
Because it can be lonely if you're running a small...
And you know what? One of the conversations, this is a classic conversation that will be on repeat during the day. Oh, I've tried that automated prospecting tool. I'll unname them. It doesn't work. And the other guy goes, "What do you mean it doesn't work?" "Well, I'm doing it like this." And he goes, I was missing that bit. And then he goes away, and
that's the beauty of such organisations as Arla and you've got things like the Guild and Fine and Country, where groups of agents come together and get together and share best practice. I think they're great organisations.
But on a smaller level as well, talk to your staff.
Yes.
Talk and listen to your staff. Your staff are your coalface. Your staff are the ones who understand where your clients get pissed off, where things get stuck in your internal processes. Talk to them, listen to them, and take action on it. If they give you actionable evidence, do something about it.
Yeah. That's the Prop Show. Thanks, Chris. Be back with you next week.
Good stuff. Okay, I'm going to talk about the fact that Rightmove have put their fees up by around 20% on average.
Again?
And last year they almost did the same, and the year before they almost did the same. I'm not commenting either way yet. Thoughts, please, gentlemen?
I think that if you rewind to agency when I started, 2002, Rightmove had just launched, but the attention for buyers was still in the local paper.
Yes.
So you'd get the local paper and you'd flip through it, and I'd get so many valuations and inquiries from that local paper. And then I slowly, or quite quickly actually, saw that transition. The attention went to Rightmove, solely to Rightmove, and that's when Rightmove became a juggernaut. Yeah. So the question is, while Rightmove have got that attention, it's not about the estate agents, it's about the public attention. So that's what the app on their phone, that's the first place they're going to go to. That's a lot of people. They don't care about agents, they just want to go. They want to go to the one place they can get the information. So the only way Rightmove is going to get disrupted is by the shift in that attention.
Is that coming from on the market? Because that's growing week by week.
I think it is growing, and they're, I'd say, a critical mass of agent numbers, which is good for them. But I feel that, like anything, after a while, it naturally gets disrupted. And if you think 2000, come up to 20 years of portal world, there's a place for disruption, there's a time for disruption. 20 years is quite a good time to have another look at it. But the question is, where is that attention going to go? Is it going to go on social media? For me, that is probably the most likely place it's going to go. Because it isn't going back to the old way.
No. See, interesting. I think if the social media pivot was going to happen, I think it would have already happened in the portal market.
Well, because there was talk of Zuckerberg doing like Facebook property, and sort of obviously they've got almost infinite sort of funds to push. I know he's been.
But Google already had a crack at it as well.
Yeah,
true.
Facebook Marketplace came
and Tesco's had a play at it. There's been some serious money companies that have had a play with it.
But that's why I say
not the
it's
easy cookie to crack. It's not like, just build the next Rightmove.
Yeah.
It's fine.
So that's where
and I think Rightmove know that, right? It looks simple. It really bloody is.
Yeah.
So to come away from Rightmove would be a risk and a gamble for many estate agents still, because they've got to replace it with something, because that's where the attention is, the majority of the attention. And vendors will say, I'm going to be on Rightmove.
I was going to say, that is, like you say, if my mum gets home or my good lady and next door's up for sale, they don't probably, well, they use Rightmove, both of them, whether it's on the laptop or the phone. And like you said, if you take that away from, oh, my house is going to be on Rightmove though, and they're like, oh no, we use something else, they're like, but that could cause a loss of...
Sure, the buyers follow the stock.
Yeah, but so what would happen, there'd need to be a movement. They'd have to pull the plug out of the bath, and all the Rightmove members just disappear and come on the market or Zoopla, and then you've got your new attention shift. But that's easier said than
I use the analogy that...
And we know that from the on the market attempt, right?
Well,
it was the one of the
yeah.
corporate rule they tried to disrupt.
Yeah.
And it's not really...
Not quite happening.
And it actually just strengthened Rightmove's position. So...
But what you had with on the market is that 20% of the agents went in and the other 80% were sitting on the fence waiting for the rest of the 80% to jump off the fence.
Not sat on the fence. I was very clearly standing on the other side of the fence.
Okay, yeah, but you have a focus group of one. I'm talking about the industry here.
Yeah, but I think
it's because we're disjointed. There's the vast 80% of the industry is one or two office operations. You can't bring.
And the thing is, Chris, it's competitive out there, isn't it? So
yeah.
if you're on the same high street as me, and I wait for you to jump to go on the market, my next valuation, we pick you on Rightmove. I don't know if they do, but
winning.
And it's still that in the high street. It's very fierce, and so
I hear stories of people that ditch Rightmove. I'm not saying it's a good or a bad thing that you do that, and they're putting a lot of time and effort, into putting their properties onto Facebook and getting even better results.
Yeah.
But it's time and effort, isn't it? Because it's very easy with Rightmove just to put the property and just forget about it. Plug and play.
Yeah, I mean, you've again, it comes back to, you've got to understand your business. You've got to understand where your marketing spend, what it's generating, the man hours you put into that as well. Because at the end of the day, yes, it's not a financial cost, but it is a real business cost at the end of the day. So you've got to understand that. I think up until now, I've always been a defender of Rightmove in conversations like this. I've always felt that as a whole, they deliver phenomenal revenue with potential income.
Well, like you said,
for a relatively fixed price. But they are pushing that envelope. And they continue to push that envelope. And I think you've got Zoopla that have come into the marketplace, and yes, predominantly through acquisitions, are now offering, a portfolio of sort of things that you can get as part of that service.
Just a point on the costs. I used to pay as an office manager in my traditional business.
I was going to say, you mentioned newspapers before.
So I paid £700 a week for a full colour page.
What year was that?
In the Chingford Guardian.
What year was that?
2002.
So that was £700 then, which would be about 1,200-1,300 pounds now.
If they could get away with people filling it. I think it's gone from that thickness to that. But at the time, we was happy to spend £2,800 a month on that way of getting valuations.
Because that was the way.
And guess what? I could fit 16 properties on maximum.
Yeah,
so when I look at Rightmove, I think it's still value for money.
Yes.
And that's why they keep pushing it. Because they go, well, go back to doing that then. What that'll cost me nearly £3,000. I don't want to do that. I'll carry on paying my subscription.
What's your thoughts on the extras?
Brilliant marketing. Rightmove done very well there, but it gets to a point where it gets too competitive. They've opened up another slot now for the valuation instruction reading tool, so it's getting too busy, I think, and it's diluted a little bit.
Kristjan?
I think I've actually been a fan of some of the products. I mean, again, it comes down to that thing of know what your advertising spend is on, right? I think we've tried pretty much every bolt-on product with Rightmove and Zoopla at one time or another.
Right.
We pretty much, on both platforms, just use the sort of brand plus and featured premium listing one.
Yeah, because you like that one, don't you?
That, I think, is very pluggable in terms of, saying to our clients, look, we'll do X, Y, Z, and it's something very measurable that they see. With things like the featured agents and their postcode sponsorships and personally, we never saw any return on investment for it.
I am a massive fan of featured agent if the banner is a special type of banner which says, are you interested, if you're like Chelmsford or Droitwich, are you interested in the Droitwich property market? Come to the Droitwich property blog, and you click on it and it goes to a blog about the property market, not about the agent. Although interestingly, half the time they work appallingly and you get no traction on them.
Right.
Because the average number of clicks, I've been told, I have not had this verified, is 25 a month nationally on these featured banners, featured agent banners. Half of my clients who use them bomb out, and then half of them get 500-800 a month. And I can't work out why some towns get 500-800 and some only get only 100. Well, 100 is better than 25.
It is.
Anyone wants to have a look at those type of adverts, can be shouting on email.
But know your market, know your market.
Yeah.
Knowing what you're spending and know what you get out of it. I mean,
So you say if you used to spend
the whole point.
2.8 and you're now only spending 2, you save money.
Still
But
saving money.
But if you're spending 2.8 and it's generating 10, that's money well
This is
bloody
true.
spent.
This is true.
You know, you might as well ramp that up to 28 and make
Do
you know
both.
100
Do
grand.
both. Do it all.
As long as it works.
Right, we'll put your things on. Right,
sponsored for £0.
For by One Dome. One Dome. Okay, and also we've got some socks.
Oh yes.
Yomdellians.
Okay.
Both have a pair.
Oh,
They're very comfy.
well
This
done,
is
well
my
done.
third pair of Yomdellians.
Oh, there we go.
Very nice.
Interestingly, should we just show the difference, the big question that estate agents are asking at the moment?
What is that question? Oh, that question.
The biggest question in estate agency in 2019 isn't high street versus online. It isn't pay up front model versus pay on results. It isn't purple bricks versus Yopa. It isn't Brexit. The biggest question is this: Yomdel socks or Moneypenny socks? This is the big question that Watkin will answer. And let's find out which ones are the best. So here we got some Yomdel ones. Nice colours. Really, really nice. Okay, nice tags. Oh, I'm loving that. See, it's got there, goes well with the eyes. Then we also have the Moneypenny socks. Quite nice here. Oh, look at that, and you get a little embroidery there. In terms of which one the best, well, to be honest with you, I think they both offer excellent foot coverage capabilities, and to be honest with you, I'd be easy on either one. Chris Watkin answering the questions that you, the UK estate agency industry, want to ask.
There you go, that was a good one, wasn't it? That was filmed live in London. Yeah. Also, I know we're running out of time-ish, but, and I know it gets talked about every week, prop tech fatigue.
Prop tech,
Like,
schmop tech.
You two
my favourite
use
subject.
it, develop it, have worked in it, and you see it all the time. What is your views on? I know that word, even prop tech, is like they're trying to rearrange
You know,
it.
if you look at the word prop tech in English dictionary, Oxford English Dictionary, you see an agent rolling their eyes.
It just says,
Yeah.
Is it time for a rebrand? I mean, because some of the tech, like, I mean, we know, like, FixFlow, amazing. PayProp makes an agent's job easier. Prospect Engine, we were chatting about earlier, great products. Hi, Ishmael. Like, there are some great ones on there. And then, as we say most weeks, there's others that provide solutions to problems that don't exist.
This is the biggest problem because at the last count there was over 600 suppliers.
600?
600?
Yes.
not all prop tech though, but
Not prop tech,
Yeah,
but
but-
including prop tech.
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah,
I can
yeah.
sell you something today, Chris. I've got 600 things. Which what do you want?
A really big coat.
A really big
Not
code.
another bloody guru, consultant coming in and selling prop tech. Got any prop tech?
Yeah,
Got any
got
prop
any
tech?
And the problem. So when the first 100 came out, agents were like, "Oh, this is all looks really.
Yeah.
Nice. I'll take some time to look at it." When the second 100 came out, they're like, "Well, I haven't really got through the first 100, but I'll have a look at bits." And then the third, and then so by the time the 600th one, the poor chap comes out and goes, "I've got a new revolution."
Even if it was a good idea.
And you need to
Yeah.
sell one house a month's pay for.
One, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
exactly. Oh, that line.
Yeah. So
Just
when the-
one extra deal.
Sorry, go on.
So when one does come to the market and it's genuinely good, it gets completely overlooked. And now the ones I feel sorry for. So you have to, it's needle in a haystack now.
Yeah,
You have to
yeah.
go, oh, when am I going to get the time to do it? And I've just let a really good one go because I've just put it under the banner of I can't be bothered anymore. Because it's just
Well,
taking too much
naturally, it
time.
would have helped your business.
And the poor old agents in the office are getting sales calls like you probably do all day long. And they're telling people just block them. I don't want to take them anymore. They're not getting through. Give it to the gatekeeper.
Fatigue, yeah.
Prop tech fatigue. So they're actually missing out on genuinely good opportunities. But if you go to an exhibition hall at the Masters or Negotiator or wherever, and you walk around, it's really quite intimidating to try and figure out what the hell is going on. It's like, what's all this stuff? But there's some brilliant stuff out there.
Yeah.
I must say.
You've got to know your business though, right? You need to know your business. You need to know where the problems are, where the friction points are, where you struggle internally, where your consumers are getting frustrated.
You can plug that gap.
And can you solve that? Sometimes it's a human thing, so sometimes it's got nothing to do with tech. But look, just like not every agent is right for every seller, not every prop tech product is right for every business. And I think, you know, they're only doing their job. They're going out there selling it, just like we get on the phone and call and email our applicants and you know, if we're doing our job, hound them until they buy or rent something with us. You know, those prop tech guys are doing the same. But know your business. Don't get frustrated because you feel like you're getting hoodwinked by you being sold something that is solving a problem you didn't think existed or isn't relevant to your business. Well, they don't know your business.
Of course, they're just trying to sell you.
I think you bloody is. So, for example, the other day I thought I better look at automated prospecting. I want to find out what that market's about because it makes sense to do it, right? So there was 4 suppliers that I found, and then I had to interview the 4 suppliers, do the 4 demos, and then do a sort of Excel spreadsheet matrix comparing all the things, and then speak to other agents that are using each of the 4. What's it really like? Does it really actually work? And by the time you've done all that, it's quite a long,
that's just one
bit of research. So even when you know what you want, you've still got quite a way to get to find the one that's going to suit you best.
I think for us, what's worked is identify the problem and then go looking for a solution, rather than passively waiting to just get pitched stuff and just get overwhelmed and inundated. Identify that big problem you want to solve and go out, find the best company for it, and then commit.
And there probably is one if there's 600 odd suppliers.
There's a lot of really cool companies out there. And there's a lot of companies that won't be whole market. You know, there are solutions out there that will cater to just niches of the market.
Yes.
And that's, you know, that's the way our market is going to evolve. We're going to end up having...
Are either of you happy to mention any firms that you think are good? The only proviso is you cannot have a financial interest in them.
Love FixFlow. Love FixFlow from the day Raj first. Well, we don't even actually use the product anymore.
Right.
Because we now use a Zebra product which
is
similar. But I've loved that product from day one. I've loved how they've evolved. I love what their roadmap is, talking about. I love the content they put out for agents, all the guides on legislation. Brilliant.
Yomdo?
Yep. Oh, yeah. Andy's coming in. Andy's coming into the studio.
Yes, we met last week in London, didn't we? Yeah.
Spectre?
Oh, we like Spectre.
Yes, great name.
I'm going out for lunch with him in a couple of days' time.
Ah, good. Hi, Spectre.
Chew the fat. Anything else?
Valpower?
Yes.
Yes, love Nat Daniels and the team there.
Yeah, so I've done a lot of research around this. So there's some really good suppliers. But as we were talking earlier, if you've got time as a business owner to even identify the problem, that's one thing, and then it's going finding the answers another. It's a long journey.
I'm a big fan of PayProp.
Yes.
Not cheap, but you get what you pay for in this world.
Good Lord.
Good Lord, yeah, that's good as well.
That seemed to
not for everyone.
No, but it does seem to simplify.
To some agents, I think it's spot on.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of crap out there.
Virtual tours have worked well for us. We use iSpy 360.
Well, you're on holiday now, aren't you?
I am. I'm not even
really?
here. I'm actually on a beach in Jamaica.
Very efficient.
Like every Viking. No, I mean, we use iSpy 360, and actually, the interesting thing was we adopted it for marketing.
Right.
Which did not work for us at all. Did not work as a marketing
Didn't enhance
tool.
the package.
There just isn't that consumer awareness yet. But we now use it on our property inspections, and that's been a massive win for us. Our clients friggin' love it. So all of our interim inspections on our managed properties, we now not only give them a 2-page report, but we shoot a virtual tour. So they don't just take our word for it. They can go and wander around the flat for themselves and go, well, hold on a minute. That wall was blue when I moved out. Or, where's my Grand's Ming vase that was in the corner gone, or whatever. Little things that we might not pick up on. But yeah, they love that.
Anything else, boys, before we close the show?
What, on supplies?
Yeah, why not?
Dataloft.
Yes.
Analytics, both of them.
Having used a demo by them about 4 weeks ago, I have to say, seriously impressive.
And this is the sort of thing
really
agents need to start looking at, because it does add value.
It cements them as the expert, doesn't it?
Well, this is it. Chris was showing what to do with that data.
Yeah, exactly,
and it was a great tool, exactly. It was taking something that agents have, and they know it have value, but particularly smaller agents have no clue how to leverage that.
Exactly right.
And Dataloft just go, don't worry, boys.
We'll sort it out.
coming up
Just
to
plug
the...
it in.
Coming up,
Yeah, we met Rory a
time.
couple of weeks ago,
Coming
actually.
up to the show, for the show, a couple of months time.
Yeah, I was
Good,
super
good.
impressed with their demo about a month
Resi
ago.
Analytics, another one.
Yeah, I was talking to David this morning. He's a good friend of mine.
Yeah, good
Good
business.
friend of mine. Yeah. Well, there you go.
There's a few to get your teeth into.
There
Yeah,
you go. So
tried and tested.
So I think that's about it then, isn't it? It's been a
Asking
long
the
show.
questions you want the answers to.
So there's only one thing to do, and that's go.
Shalom!